I was flagged down this week by a guy on a motorcycle in Federal Plaza. It was Steve from church, a regular at 8 o'clock until he was kicked out for erratic behavior whenever he went off his meds. I asked him where he goes to church now, and he said he goes to Cathedral St. James. It was Sue Buchanan's funeral this week. I wasn't there because I'm not allowed on the property either. Twice during the service, they told us to be sure to vote Democrat in the next election. And at the end, they told us to vote for Kamala. I was surprised they didn't mention at the funeral that behind every great man is a great woman. Sue was a great woman. I liked Sue very much. She was a kind and gentle spirit. The appropriateness of being inappropriate is appropriate if you're part of the inner circle of power, money, and control. For people like Steve and me, not so much. Welcome. Welcome to Sunday Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Sunday Coffee Hour, we talk about everything and nothing. This Sunday, we talked about going to a funeral in real life. You have to have the blues to sing the blues. The 50th anniversary of Nixon resigning, being in a singles group with Louise Howe and Nancy Stevenson Greenberg. The readings at Washington National Cathedral were from Exodus. We all complain about the reality of freedom. If this had been an actual emergency, we would have received instructions. And from Ephesians, God has made a captive of our captivity. The gospel reading was the gospel truth of looking for God in all the wrong places. The sermon at Washington National Cathedral was by Spencer Brown. Spencer preached about complaining about the reality of freedom. We prefer captivity more. Spencer gave the example of a favorite bundt cake dessert. We all want our share at someone else's expense. The more we get means less for someone else. That's the way we think. We all want our piece of the good stuff, and we create the scarcity model to get our share. Denying others means more for us. Excluding others and banning them from the building makes a safe place for us. God's reality doesn't work that way. It rides up to us on a motorcycle in Federal Plaza. God didn't create diversity, equity, and inclusion. We did. We discriminate, but God does not. We don't trust God or each other. We're offered faith through Christ, but we choose something else in its place. It's not a new story. All the crap is with us and all the good stuff too. We're all worthy by simply being. No one is more blessed or more cursed than anyone else. A simple word of thanks and gratefulness says it all. We can see it differently. When we do, it's faith breaking through. Being open to correction lets more faith in. Whatever it takes to let faith, hope, and love enter in, go there. Run toward that light. It's part of making the world a better place in faith. At St. James Cathedral, the sermon was by Christopher Griffin. He preached about the Summer in the City program for youth at St. James. Chris shared visiting his nephew for a summer vacation in Boston, teaching his nephew how to ride a bike. Chris had to hold on to the handlebars to teach him how. Ultimately, learning comes from letting go of the handlebars and letting his nephew ride alone. None of us want to do that. We all have to learn to live our life on our own. It can be very scary. We've all had someone who encouraged us growing up. It's vital that we have this. It's part of telling the truth of the reality of freedom. We must tell the truth in what we say and do. God is not love in the abstract. He loves you. We don't love in general. We love each other. We love people with a name. There is always scheming and scamming in the world, and then a cover up. It's always going on. Also, much love. It's all part of life, but it's not our entire life. It's all how it operates in the world. How we manage it makes all the difference. Chris said people are being very mean to each other right now. We can move beyond that. Let it go. Letting go so we can all live on our own, living on our own together in freedom. It's the best kind of summer vacation we can have. At Sue Buchanan's funeral, there were lots of lovely, lovely tributes, political endorsements, followed by Vidor's toccata recessional, and then lots of applause. I'm glad the Buchanan family had the graciousness and loveliness of Fourth Pres to comfort them in their time of grief. We had to suffer through a 9-year failed social science experiment and much grief, and there was no one there to comfort us. In many ways, Fourth has always been a family affair. Most of us were not part of the inner circle, but it was a good scene anyway. We were all proximate and glad to be. We all make our own morality to suit our own needs in any particular time and place. It's part of being homogeneous. My fashion stylist friend Marcy lived in San Francisco when Kamala Harris was there dating Willie Brown. Willie is married, and Marcy said somehow they made it all okay. Sue was an ardent sports fan, very competitive, and had strong opinions. She had a cardboard cutout of Hillary Clinton and was looking forward to seeing our first woman president. Sue was a terrific hostess and had a sense of color and style. She sewed her children's clothes growing up and was the CEO of the Buchanan family. One of her grandchildren said she was really, really good at loving and that she loved Halston perfume. At the funeral, Linda Loving reminded us that God is very close, in the thin place between this life and the next. We're all walking each other home in this lifetime. Callum cited an inscription by Christopher Wren at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. If you seek a monument to God, look around. We can all look around at our life as a monument to God. Each of us has a unique life, regardless of what we think of each other. Callum said he especially appreciated a special gift Sue gave him, an ashtray with a picture of Jesus in the center of it, with the inscription, "Jesus hates it when you smoke." My friend Laura Martin went to the Black Journalist Convention with guest Donald Trump last week at the Chicago Hilton. The next day, she was found dead in her apartment. She didn't get a fancy funeral because she's a Trump supporter. Most news comes from Reuters and Associated Press, and then it gets disseminated through various news outlets where it picks up particular flavor and nuance that appeals to those markets. Plus, the influence of paid advertisers. Price was the original news source, and then his message got disseminated through various news outlets. Christ lived, Christ died, Christ rose again, but it wasn't reported on Fox or CNN because it offended advertisers. We all get infiltrated by paid political advertising. It's hard to separate out what's real and what's not. Maybe we don't need to try to figure it out. I thought we were all having a fun time in this lifetime. Traditionally in the US, we had class mobility instead of race. I thought we were all in on the joke together, but now it seems many of us are disappearing into a permanent underclass. We all make our own morality to suit our own needs. Perhaps it's evidence that class structure is alive and well. We all love Vidor's toccata as a recessional at a funeral, but there's no need to clap. Death is the ultimate recessional. If you would like to join us at Sunday Coffee Hour is every Sunday at 12 noon Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. Be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.